This time on Custom Works, we're tidying up more loose ends on the Meat Wagon. Let's get to the workshop. Okay then, so welcome to another Custom Works. This week, we've been doing all them little bits again. Just lots and lots of little bits. And also, I've been busy with other things, so I've not had as much time as usual. But anyway, it's going to be a great show. Let's get to the workshop. Let's see what we've been up to. Right, so the other week, we put the exhaust on the Meat Wagon. And here it is. And as you can see, that does not look very good. And we've also got this wheel spat that comes in here to contend with. We need some sort of surround around here just so it looks better, because this just won't do. So what are we going to do? Okay, and so first up, what we're going to do, I'm going to make a template, because I want it to sort of wrap around a bit and have a bit of, you know, do a cool look, but I don't want to interfere with this wheel spat, but I want it to look cool. So first up, I've marked a circle on here just by pressing on there, and first up I'll get that cut out, get that on there and push this piece of cardboard up so we can start making a template for this cool panel. Right, so that's looking pretty good. I'm a little bit sort of long there, and this bit I've cut a bit short. So what I'm going to do, rather than making a whole new template, I'm just going to stick some masking tape down there and double it up at the back. Then what I'll be able to do is actually line that bit up, see through the masking tape, and get that a little bit tighter into there. So that's looking pretty good. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to make this hole about 10mm bigger all the way around, because obviously you get a lot of sort of wobble around. So I'll make that a bit bigger, then we'll transfer this to an old piece of aluminium. So we have our template. So now I'm going to transfer this onto this piece of aluminium, which is actually checker plate on the back. So I'm going to do it with the good side facing me. Mark this out, and then we will cut it out, clean it up and fix it to the car. So I could cut this on the bandsaw or with the angle grinder, whatever, but I'm going to use the plasma cutter just because it's quick and it's easy. So let's go. Cut out, all done. What I'm going to do now is with the angle grinder, with a flat wheel in there, I'm just going to clean this up, ready to put the bend in it and fix it on. So it's got a nice smooth, clean shape to it now. So just to clean out this hole, and then it's about done. Right, and so to clean out this, I'm going to put a flat wheel in a die grinder. Now, I don't know if this is what's meant to be, but flat wheels do fit in this collar on the die grinder, and it works really well. But I always think, wow, one day one of these is going to fly into a million pieces. So, don't try this at home, but it does work really well. That's cleaned that out pretty good as well. It really works if you've ever, you know, if you, I don't know, say you've drilled something and you've got like a bridge of tube between, and when you've welded round, just to clean inside the tubes, works really well. I first did that, putting the flat wheel in the die grinder when I did automatrons. Of course, there was a lot of internal tubes to sand on that project, so that came out there. Like I'm saying, I'm not saying it's safe, but my God, it works. Let's get this on that car. Right, so what I need here is to bend this around there. It's just too thick just to hammer it. So I'm just going to put some marks here, here, and here. And if I put a few degrees on each one of those in the vise, just giving it its bend, it should fit better to the panel. So this is looking pretty good. I'm just going to take a little bit off here because that's a little bit closer, just to make that more parallel. But once I've done that, I'll drill this and then we'll screw it on. I've drilled a load of holes in this now, ready to screw on. I'll screw it on with some like old-timey screws, and I've just run over it with a grinder so it looks a bit more worked, because the whole rat rod thing seems to be a lot about that, doesn't it? A great tip on this sort of thing, I want to put this on, but I want to put it on with these screws because they look a bit nice. Still a crosshead, but they've got a sort of panhead top, and they'll just look nicer than these wood screws. But my top tip would be screw it in with the cheap wood screws and just go with like one size down, and then screw those in nice and easy, because these probably not quite sharp enough to get through the fibreglass. But things like turbo gold, spats or ricer screws, they will all go straight into fibreglass and sheet steel. Okay, so all the screws are in, every screw's got a washer behind it, everything looks good, and that's it. The exhaust pipe is finished. There's been some rust paint on this and it's discoloured it a bit and it looks nice and old, and when this is all sort of lacquered in the tinted 2K, it'll bring all the colours out. This is going to look awesome. Right, and so on this bit, what I've done, I've had to put these plates on. These are just die-bond plates, and they're on like the running board part of the Meat Wagon. I've put these over because there were some gaps there and I was going to like blend it all in, but I thought no, let's keep these as plates, but I need to make them rusted and I don't really want to spray them. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to mix some clear coat, I'm going to mix some iron powder, and I'm just going to brush it over here, and then when it's dry I'll give it a light sanding. That'll bring the iron powder to the top, we'll spray some solution on it and it will rust, and it will look, well, it'll look like an old truck, won't it? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to mix some clear coat with some of this, which is iron powder, atomised iron powder. So I'll mix some clear coat, 2K, so hardener and the clear. I'll mix some of this in, then we can paint this bit in. There's a couple of other bits, just inside seams and stuff. I want some extra rust. I don't really want to get the gun out or anything again, but I need the car to rust in a certain way. So let's mix this up, see how it goes. So first up, I'm going to use some of this matte clear. I've only mixed a small amount of matte clear there, and I've also got this, which is the hardener for it, so I shall drop that in there. And now I'm going to add, there we go, some of that iron powder. Right, and now I'm going to mix all that together and we should have some rust paint. So I've mixed that up and it's all looking pretty good. Looks almost black. And you've always got to keep stirring this because, of course, the solids in this paint are that iron powder, and iron don't float unless it's made into the structure of a boat. No one likes pet. Anyway, here we go. Let's paint some of this on. Giving them a coat. There's a few bits, a few splashing fumes. Don't forget, all of this turns into rust, so it's not got to be really clean, but I'll go over that with another coat before it's ready for sanding. We have got this seam which I purposely left rough, but we don't seem to have got any real rust in there, so I'm going to mask this up. And just with a paintbrush again, I'm going to paint in there so we get some heavy rust in that seam. And I'll do that on the other side as well. Right, and so I put plenty of this paint with the iron powder in, put plenty on there, and I've put a few more spots around the car where I didn't quite think there was enough rust. And of course, our plates down there are looking good. So now it's time to just give them a little bit of a nib off with some 120, and then we'll spray the solution on that makes them rust, and this car should start to look a whole lot older and a whole lot more rusty. So then I put the rust solution on, and this is what we've got. Definitely in this seam that should be sort of rotted out, it's good. All this is just the paint on, nibbed off with the sandpaper, and then the chemical on there. And then, you know, parts like this has gone really good. And this now is this is only 3 days old with the rust. So as this stands in a bit of weather, it should become a lot more rusty and, you know, look even more like genuine rust. Now also looking at these plates, so I put the rust solution on there, sanded them down, added the chemical. That has rusted up great. Really looks like, you know, 2 bare steel patches were put on there. But just remember, as you look at this is all fibreglass. There is no steel there, except for the iron powder in the rust paint that we made. And don't forget, that rust solution is just salt, clear vinegar and peroxide. And those things just send it crazy overnight, and you can get really, really realistic looking rust very quickly. Other things we've been doing, I say we, I mean hot rod building legend Lee Cox, lots of wiring. There's so much wiring on this car, so at the moment we're going to do it on like 2 circuits. So we've got a circuit in so the headlights, all the indicators, side repeaters, this car has to have side repeaters, it's only 1997, don't forget, all the backlights, they're all in and most of them work. We're just waiting for a fog light and some other bits that you have to have in the UK for the MOT. But once we've got all those, that sort of getting it on the road lighting wiring is almost done. There's a few other bits, but once that is done, we're moving on to the wiring that's going to make the whole sort of kitchen in the back work. We're going to run that on a separate circuit. We've been working on these this week. This bonnet, I was thinking about a proper latch, but then I thought, rat rod, hot rod, let's have bonnet pins. I like these when we used them on the A40, and I like them on this as well. They will hold the bonnet down. You know the bonnet is held down. This is quite a big and quite a heavy bonnet, but they work just great. So yeah, the pins that came in the kit, nowhere near long enough, so we have to extend them. And of course, because we've sort of stretched the front of the car, we didn't have anywhere very, like, really solid to weld them to. So we welded these 2 pieces of bar to here. Hot Rod Legend Lee Cox drilled these 2 holes so that it holds the bonnet down. And it really does work just so well. You know what? I'd have these bonnet pins on any car. I'd buy a new Rolls Royce and fit them. I think they just look great. But yeah, on this, bonnet's down there. We know all that's good. It looks covered in dust under it, but we have jet washed the engine. Not that you'd know, because once again, it's dusty, but a lot going on in here. Wiring for pumps. We're going to get some piping to the pumps over the next sort of week or so. And we're going to get the rear bags working so that everything just works from inside the cab. And we're going to get the height sensor put on there as well, so you know what height you're at when you're cruising down the road. Yeah, all of this is going very well. Also this week, the truck, the van, whatever it is, the Meat Wagon, it now has mirrors. And sitting in this thing, it's literally like regaining your sight or something like that. These are amazing. So they've got a good curve in, so I can see right from the top to the bottom for anything low, anything like that. I want this car to be easily manoeuvrable. I've got them mounted on, a little bit unorthodox, but we've put this big steel plate on so we can get some really heavy fixings in there. So this is super strong, and of course this will be patinaed to match everything. So on the back of the mirror we've got this, well, it's just a mirror off a lorry or something, isn't it? So I'll be making a fiberglass back for this, rusty with some, I don't know, features, you know, make it look cool. We'll still have adjustability in there, and I'll sit it over this, and that should make those look a bit better. But it really is like night and day that we've now got decent mirrors on this. I've moved this around the yard and in and out of the workshop so many times after we watched every time. No more. This is just, they are amazing. I want them on my daily driver. They're just brilliant mirrors. Also, you may have noticed this week, the front bumper is black. Now, this is just a base coat at the minute, but I'll be going over it with some 2K clear to get it really shiny black in preparation for some of this sort of aluminium stroke chrome effect paint that we're going to do this in. This is the first bit on the truck I've done, but I want to get this and the grille done, and then the front end is sort of there except for the matte clear that's going to go over the patina. But yeah, very exciting. It's going to be very shiny. And then I'm probably going to add some rust to it. I don't know. But that will be coming up on a future episode of Custom Work, so stay tuned. And it will be along shortly, I think. Oh yeah. At the back of the truck, obviously now we've got lights and they work, and these are the taxi lights that are in the original taxi. Probably going to change the lens on this one because this is more just knackered than rat rod, so we'll probably change that one. But they all work and everything's good. Also, got a number plate light here, very shiny. I think that'll probably dirty down a little bit for the final sort of look. And also, I've been working on this bottom edge of the bumper. As you can see at the minute, we're outside, so the truck is actually on the lift. So at the minute, I can get the truck up to a nice working height to work on the bottom of the bumper without crawling around, because doing the front end on this truck, I've really damaged one of my knees. I find it hard to kneel now. So this is a great way of doing it and not causing myself any more sort of medical pain. Okay then, so that's about it for this week. This week, bit more of a catch-up than anything else. It's just been a really busy week. I've had other things on, and sometimes cars have to take a bit of a back seat, but as this is the first time in over 100 episodes, not too bad. But anyway, that is it for this week. We'll be back next week. Don't forget, in our Etsy store, limited edition t-shirts and stickers. Why they limited? Why don't you try and sell out like that again? Okay then, so over the next 7 days there will be literally a million chances for you to get into a workshop and make something. That's what I'd recommend. Anyway, I thank you very much and good night.